So let me introduce myself. My name is Anastasia Melnikova, and I'm the founder of the project, which is called School of Business English and Communications. And actually, as you have already read in our Instagram and maybe in the ads that you were given, that the idea of creating the course for the teachers was made by our desire to work with high professionals, teachers, not only in English, but also with people who can understand business and business skills and can present the skills to the students in an appropriate way. So we're going to speak about, and our course is divided into 3 modules, which is business awareness, business skills or business communications, and module number 3, methodology. We decided to switch it between 2 people, okay, who are professionals in their own spheres. They will introduce themselves and they will speak about their modules. So business awareness and business skills, Anastasia will teach, and module about methodology will teach our British teacher. Okay, so let's start with Anastasia's introduction to yourself. Okay, and again, all the questions after the presentations. All right.
Okay, I will start with sharing my screen, so I'm not so quick in that. So, and we start the presentation. Okay. So I think you can see the screen now. Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nastasia Filipits. I've been teaching English from 2009, and I'm doing a sort of 2 parts of 2 modules, which you're gonna go through. It's business awareness and also business. Why I'm eligible for that? Because I've as English myself for 5 years, countries all over the world. More advertising. Can you hear me? I have the boost to the internet. You can hear me, Anastasia? I'm
yes,
first.
now we can hear you.
Yeah, so it's something wrong. So I've been working in English for advertising for 3 years, and for 2 years in a row before the pandemic, I prepared our teams for Cannes Lions Festival. It's the biggest marketing and advertising festival in the world. Also, I work with IT and in IT myself. I am an content editor for Belarusian American IT company. I also studied marketing at Brandenburg Technical University in Germany. And I also have an experience studying in the UK because I'm a junior associate at their institute located inside of the Cambridge University. That's why I decided that knowledge which I have, which I gathered, should be useful for the teachers teaching business English. Because the problem number 1, which I hear from my colleagues, is that they know English, but they don't know anything about business spheres, and they get lost preparing for hours trying to understand how different fields working. And that's why this model gonna come first, and this is a model of business awareness, where we're gonna cover all main fields which require our services right now. And we're mostly talking about the post-Soviet sector, because our countries, we talk about Russian-speaking countries, they are outsourced, outhouse workers for the thousands of American and European companies in different fields. So they need English, the business English skills. So, but to teach them, we need to understand how their field works. So, and the first, what we're going to cover on the first day, I remind you that each module going to take 1 week. Every day, we're going to work with you 3 astronomical hours or 4 academic hours with a break, of course, don't worry. So, and on our first day, we're going to talk about the business and entrepreneurship in general. We're going to cover what companies, departments, and roles in the companies are the most important, what the hierarchy, what are the management models. Also, we're going to talk about what's the difference between products and services, what kind of products are sold by our company a lot abroad as outsourced. Also, we're going to talk about the stages of development as a product, which very often required for those who teach people working with project management, because they working with products a lot and selling their services and products. So they require always a good knowledge of their product development stages. And of course, we're going to talk about business culture and what business culture in our country, how it's seen by their foreigners, and how we should act during different business occasions. The next day, we're going to talk about human resources. First of all, about the process of recruiting, because this topic included almost into every business book. It doesn't matter who is the author or publishing house, there's still going to be recruiting module or lesson there. We are going to talk about CV and cover letter structures, again, because it's highly demanded by the students. Also, we're going to talk about the process of interviewing, what parts there, questions, the main vocabulary, and of course, employee management. On the third day, we are covering informational technologies, the biggest field in our country, because you can't work in IT without English. We're going to talk what IT fields are popular now, and actually the most specialists now working or medtech, edtech, e-commerce, or big data. What is it and what do they want? We're going to talk about companies and departments in IT field, also products and solutions for IT, and also what is network, data security, and communication systems. On the fourth day, we are covering marketing and advertising. We're going to talk about marketing foundations, what is marketing research and its stages, about 4 Ps and marketing plan. In advertising, we're going to talk about AIDA. It's the criteria of advertising campaigns. Also going to talk about advertising channels and marketing tools. Also, during this day, there are going to be practical parts, because others will be more like theoretical discussion. During that day, there are going to be practical part. I show you how you can organize the brainstorms or role plays, especially in teaching advertising, because they are very interesting for students. They are educational and entertainment. And in plus, they are very good for forming good communicative skills. And they are not very long, but give a lot of educational profit for our students, and they like it. Also, and the last day, we are covering finance and economics, also growing field now. Nowadays, everybody talking about ventures, capital, stocks, and share. That's also going to be covered by us. We talk about the economic systems, financial institutions, personal, commercial, retail, and investment banking. I know it all sounds very far from English, but the best part that you're gonna learn a lot of vocabulary. We're gonna finish up the week with the control method, and everyone from each day always getting vocabulary with all terminology for every field we discussed, and also some extra reading materials which you can use either in your class or just to feel more comfortable explaining something to your students, because very often our students are people who entering the field, so they still have a lot of gaps in their knowledge in their job, and sometimes they don't understand the book which we actually go through also. So they ask you to explain, so you will have all materials to do that. And the second week is gonna be the model business skills. That's part of business English, sometimes even taught separately from everything else, or sometimes we even ask to teach specific skills for different companies and people for their, for example, presentation if they traveling somewhere to present, or for example, in our school we have a course which I and David teach about negotiations. So, but I think the most important that in order to teach those skills, we need to understand what they are and have the skills also. So what do we start? We're gonna start with you with networking. We will talk with you about what is introduction of yourself and your company, how to present your company, your projects, and of course how to have the small talk which can never break. And at least you need it to stop and get down to business. And then the next day we're going to talk about the presentation, what types of presentations exist, language which required for presentations, and about different styles. On the third day, we're covering the negotiations topic. We're going to talk about procedure, structure, and techniques. And on the fourth day, we talk about meeting, exactly how to build the agenda, what are the minutes, and telephoning, conferencing, and meeting. Because now everybody on remote, so people meet a lot by phone or online. And last day is writing, because we writing emails every day, and our clients too. So we need to teach them the main types of letters, formal and informal style, and how to write good and profitable proposals and reports. These classes will be a little bit different from their previous week, which will be more like discussions, lecture, seminar type. Here we're gonna have the first part of the meeting gonna be theoretical, and the second one are gonna be the group work involving the role play. For example, if we have with you the day about presentation, the fourth part of the lesson, I tell you all I talked before. And then during the second part, I divide you all into the groups, and everybody has their scenario they have to work with. And then we all gonna evaluate the results of each group. So it means that you're gonna have the skill yourself formed during our week. And I also, what do we get here? After every day, you get the skill, because now you can practice it. And of course, extra reading materials and exercises. So thank you. That's all about two models. I give the word to David, please.
David, no, would you turn on your microphone, please? Yeah.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Nastasia. I have to say, my presentation for the beginning of our little webinar today is much less comprehensive than Nastasia's. In our part of the sessions together, really, the aim will be to provide an opportunity for you to discuss and to share ideas that are related to the ideas of language teaching and language learning with other people who are involved in the same profession. I would like to think that the sessions will develop into a kind of a big friendly staff room where everybody's able to share their ideas and their thoughts about different areas and different topics connected to teaching methodology and teaching practice. It's very important to remember that in these sorts of senses, there are no right or wrong answers lots of the time when we're talking about methodologies and teaching practices. A lot of it will be personal preference formed through your own experiences. So that's hopefully what you're going to bring to the sessions, your own ideas, your own experiences of various areas of teaching and student learning. During the sessions, we'll use tasks and questions to highlight practical approaches to classroom activities and situations, and also to speak about some basic methodologies and how to apply them to benefit your students in classrooms. There'll also be an element of our sessions where participants will be able to ask their own questions. So again, things that you're concerned with or things that you would like to know a little bit more about, you're very welcome to bring these things to the sessions and to ask questions of myself, but also of the other participants. I'm a great believer that students in classrooms learn much more from each other than they realize. I think this is one of the problems of perceptions of students sometimes, is that they feel that they learn from the teacher, not from each other. But I do think active interaction between students and participants in groups is very, very, very beneficial. So this will be a key part of our sessions together. We'll be working in pairs and small groups to talk about your ideas, to talk about the things that concern you. We'll also discuss the range of materials available to you as business teachers, and also similar to Nastasia's modules, we'll investigate some useful vocabulary areas as well. Now, in our part of the course, our module, not all of the material can be specifically aimed at business English, but all of the areas we cover will be relevant to business English and English for specific purposes. So English for specific purposes, things like legal English, English for medicine, things like this, but obviously for us, primarily business English. The area of vocabulary of these areas is very important. Obviously, it's one of the big variations in teaching English for specific purposes, and we'll have exercises and activities that are designed to help you understand better how to implement things that are relevant to your business students and to your business classes. We're going to have a little brief exercise later, I think. Is Nastasia going to give a little bit more information first? But we're going to have a little discussion a little later on, just to show you a quick idea of how our groups will function and the type of input that you can expect from me and from your colleagues.
Actually,
Okay.
I sent the materials that you asked me to send to the students. So most of them, maybe not all of them, but most of them, they have it.
Okay, so you'd like to do this now?
Well, why not?
Absolutely. Okay, brilliant. Well, what I'd like you to do then, we're going to have a brief discussion about an aspect of classroom management. Okay, so let me just share a screen with you in a second. Now, so as a brief example today, because we don't have a lot of time, obviously, I'm going to ask you to work in small groups to discuss these 3 questions. Okay. Now, for those of you who don't have this handout, I'll give you a few seconds just to copy the questions down. What are the advantages and potential problems for using pair work in classes? What types of tasks in your experience? Remembering also that to draw on your experience, not only as teachers, but also as students. You've all been through the language learning process. Which areas did you find interesting? Which things did you find useful? Which activities have you done as a student and as a teacher with pair work in class? What things do teachers need to consider and to do while using pair work in class? So what are some of the things that a teacher should think about before a pair work activity? What type of things should the teacher be concerned with during the pair work activity? And also anything that you can think of that's relevant to after or post pair work practice or presentation. Okay, so as I say, I'm going to give you a few more seconds just to copy these questions down if you don't have the handouts, and then I think I'm going to divide you into, how many have we got, into 2 or 3 groups. Now, what I'd like you to do in your groups, first of all, very quickly, just introduce yourselves to each other very, very briefly. What's your name? Where are you from? I'd like you in your group to nominate someone to take notes on the things that you're discussing. Spend around 2 minutes on each question. As I said, we don't have lots of time today, so we'll just have a discussion, very, very, very basic discussion when you come back to the group, and we'll give each other our ideas and a little bit of feedback. Okay. Right. Now, as I was just saying to Anastasia, the time today is a little bit against us. So again, in a normal session, you would have had a little bit more time to discuss that. And obviously in the feedback into the group, we will probably have more time to focus on the smaller details and maybe to link ideas together so that we have a more complete discussion. But just very quickly today, just to talk through some of the aspects of things that that you've mentioned today. Some advantages of pair work. Somebody from maybe from group 1?
Yes, so the advantages are that both parties are involved, both are active, and both are getting benefits from participation.
Good. I think active involvement, a very, very key element to pair work. One of the main reasons that teachers would ask students to work in pairs. Thank you very much. So an active involvement. Any other thoughts? Anybody from group 2?
Can I?
Yes, absolutely, please.
So there is an idea came up during our discussion that a lot of more people, take an opportunity to participate simultaneously, not to wait for their turn to be speaking, but they are all speaking at the same time.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure how to formulate it like more concise. Maybe you will help me.
Absolutely. No. So I think, again, one of the key elements of pair work here is more participation. I think in a classroom situation that is more teacher-led, there is a limited amount of time available for students to speak, which is obviously one of the main objectives of English language or any language classroom. So more participation, I would say, again, possibly the key element, it increases student talk time versus the teacher speaking. So yes, I think a big benefit, and one of the main objectives of pair work would be to increase how often and how frequently students can speak. Good. Anything else? Group C? Sorry, was I'm going to pick on Nastasia because I know she was in group C. Did your group have any ideas?
Yes, we have the notes and Natalia could present them. So yes, Natalia. So please switch on your mic, please.
Okay, I switched on. Right.
Hello.
So yeah, we have already mentioned talking time. I mean, extended talking time by students. Also, quite a good idea for peer teaching. I mean, when students help each other to cope with the different kinds of problem and help to understand something and have the good result in it. Another idea, it can be useful for maybe language barrier overcoming, because students feel in a kind of comfort zone talking to people the same level, the same, I don't know, age. And also that's a good way for developing communicative skills.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So yes, some very good ideas there. Again, peer teaching, again, I think is an incredibly important aspect of language learning. I don't think that students are normally completely aware of how much they can learn from each other. And I do also think that this type of activity, it does encourage them to be independent. I think I've spelt independence wrong, but never mind. Also, the language, as you said, the language that's produced in these moments is much more natural and authentic than language that is often produced in group work. And I think this gives the teacher a very good opportunity to understand their students' problems and their students' mistakes in a way that possibly doesn't happen in other forms of class organization. And as you've said as well, a non-threatening environment builds confidence among students, which obviously helps them to produce more language and more effective language. Did anybody else have any other ideas to advantages? Now, I would say one of the main benefits to the teacher is that during these little moments of students working together, the teacher can monitor student performance much more closely than they can in classwork or in large group work. So again, teachers are able to move around the classroom, to connect themselves to pairs, and to understand much better their students' needs and their students' problems within particular language areas. Brilliant. Now there are others. There are other areas, but did anybody think of any disadvantages to pair work? Anybody from group one?
Yeah, sure. We have thought about some disadvantages. So there can be stronger and weaker students that might cause problems if the level of fluency is very different, and students might not get on well at a personal level. So that also might cause problems.
Okay, good. Absolutely. Let's put that down as personal issues then. Absolutely. So student pairing is one of the areas that teachers should be aware of. It can be potentially problematic. Often a teacher might want to pair two students together that have different abilities. As we've said before, one of the benefits or the advantages of pair work is that students can support each other and can learn from one another. As I'm sure most of you who have teaching experience will know, it's very difficult to find two students who have exactly the same skills and exactly the same abilities. So to have that as a goal might be a little unrealistic, but certainly it should be considered which students are paired with other students. And this really, something we'll talk about very briefly later on, this really should be something that the teacher controls, not the student. You should be the person who's dividing into pairs, not allowing all the time anyway students to choose their own partners. Good. Any other disadvantages? Okay.
Well, I could say it might produce a lot of noise.
Okay, yes.
It might disturb other classrooms.
Okay, so yes, noisy, I think, is one of the main effects of pair work. Obviously online, a little bit different than in a classroom, but yes, in a face-to-face environment, 14 people working in pairs is incredibly noisy. Not all students appreciate this. Not all students find noise is very helpful to working, and often teachers as well. So finding little areas or little ways of controlling the volume as your pair work progresses can be very important as well. I think one of the other problems of pair work can often be making sure that the students stay on topic. Again, it's very easy for students to leave the main ideas of the discussion and to start talking about other things. I would say also, to add to that, staying on topic and also staying in the target language. So again, it can sometimes be a moment when students take the opportunity to start speaking their own languages. So again, this is all part of obviously a teacher's role as a monitor at this moment, just to make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, everybody's staying within the range of the language that you wanted. Good. Now, the second question: what types of tasks have you used before, or what types of tasks do you think are suitable for pair work? Anyone from group 1? Anyone from group 2? Oh, I think people have microphones off. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So since sorry for
that's okay.
Jumping in. Yeah, so since I was taking notes, I guess I can speak on behalf of group number 2. So the first thing that came to our minds was definitely different kind of role plays, dialogue or interviews. It can be, if talking about business English, it can be a job interview, for instance. Also, it can be any kind of project preparation when it comes to presentations, mapping, or as a part of homework, for, like assignment given, maybe to be working together and preparing some information to be later on taught to the group, because as you mentioned before, when we are teaching something, we better like dive deeper into the topic by ourselves, and again it will be some kind of peer teaching.
Fantastic, absolutely brilliant. Excellent. So yes, so things like role plays, interviews, information gap activities are perfect for this type of situation within a classroom. One of the things that I think is extremely important for students is pair checking after comprehension activities. I think after listening activities and reading activities, students benefit greatly from, especially in confidence, from checking with each other to verify that what they've understood from a text is also what somebody else has understood from a text. I would say also that this is a key part of preparation for listening. So again, prediction tasks, getting students to think about the texts or the audio material that they're going to listen to, and to work together to try to produce some types of predictions about the things that they'll hear, helps to activate vocabulary. And again, I think I've spelled preparation wrong, but never mind. Create a story, talk about a picture, lots of ideas that you can use with pairs to get people speaking effectively and in a targeted manner. Great, thank you very much. Does anybody else, before we move on, does anybody else have any ideas for task types? Oh, okay, not try them. Brilliant. Okay, now we're just going to have a very quick discussion. Sorry, oh, have I got rid of that? We're just going to have a very quick discussion about things that teachers need to think about during pair work, or before pair work, during pair work, and after pair work. So what aspects do you think the teacher brings in terms of classroom management to setting up pair work? Anybody from group B, group 2, sorry?
Again, yeah.
Sorry, no, group 2. I keep picking on you, Natalia. I'm going to ask somebody from group 3, actually. Sorry, I'll come back to you.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It's okay, thank you. Somebody from group 3 has any ideas?
No, actually, we had just a few ideas. The first is the number of students, because each group may have odd or even number, and it depends, it influences if we have only pair work or pair in the group mix. And also, I think it's the level of material, like the teacher should prepare the appropriate material for pair work, like suitable one.
Absolutely. So the material should be appropriate. And again, we'll talk about materials and assessing materials for complexity during some of our sessions as well. So yes, absolutely. The material should be achievable. I think it's one of the things that I was taught on my pre-service course, my teacher training course, was that activities can be fun, but nothing is fun if you can't do it.
Yes.
So it might be the most fun activity in the world, but if it's not achievable, students won't enjoy it, and they won't benefit from it as well. Okay, so yes, so as we've just spoken about very briefly as well, to divide the students yourself, it's very important that as a teacher, I think that you remain in control of this element of pair work. understanding students' needs and understanding students' compatibility with each other is part of our role as teachers, something that maybe shouldn't be left to the students to decide. Is there anything else, any other considerations that anybody can think of before we start pair work?
I think the teacher should be ready to say about appropriate time. I mean, about timing. Yeah, it's very important.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's very important that the students are given a time limit. I think this creates a little expectation of, obviously, of how long they're going to be given to do this. It's in the teacher's control. Again, you can extend this time if you think that the activity is going very well, or if the activity is finished very quickly, maybe to shorten the activity into a feedback, something like this. Good, thank you very much. Anything else?
And we usually give a certain vocabulary or a certain range of information that students should use in their conversation, for example.
Good.
Special vocabulary.
Good. So pre-teaching helpful vocabulary or some of the structures that the task naturally will elicit is also very, very helpful for these types of things. Excellent. Any other ideas?
So I would just add, yeah, that I absolutely agree that like the first thing that we have on our list of the needs, like of why we are doing it, like the main goal of it, and of course setting the goal like precisely and clearly, because sometimes we divide the students into pairs, give them this interview, and for example an interview task, one person is asking questions, the second one is answering them, but it turns out to be as a dialogue, so we need to set the goal absolutely clearly.
Great, absolutely. I think this is one of the areas that in a longer session we would probably focus on a little bit more. I think the setting up of a task for students has to be very, very, very clear, has to be very explicit. Students need to know what's expected of them, and often demonstrations are better than explanations. Demonstrate rather than explain, I think, is a good concept. And it doesn't have to be a teacher demonstrating. It could be two students from the group that you know will understand your instructions, that can then demonstrate to the rest of the group what's expected of them in the activity. Okay. I would also say, just to finish this little part off, I would include some preparation time for students as well. I think a lot of students make mistakes and fail in tasks because they weren't given enough time to prepare. I think speaking activities sometimes need to be treated a little bit more like writing activities, where students have a few minutes to think about language and to think about what they're going to say, how they're going to express their ideas. Okay, good. Also, very, very, very important. Again, sorry, everything's important. Confirm understanding of students. Again, this needs to be concrete understanding. Asking a student to explain to the class, to you, what they are going to do with the task helps to clarify this for other students, and also allows the teacher to identify potential problems or misunderstandings. Great. Now, I know that you probably didn't have a lot of time to get to the bottom of this list, but anything that you think teachers need to be thinking about during pair work? Let's go to group one. Anybody from group one?
Of course, everything should be under control of teacher. The topic, the way how students interact in this group. Of course, if they lose their topic, their idea, how to solve the problems, it's teachers' task how to return them to the main idea of the topic.
Absolutely, absolutely. So again, as part of the monitoring process, and I think again this is, I know a lot of teachers who think that pair work is a really good opportunity to sit at the back of the classroom and have a break. I think monitoring students in this moment is the key element that the teacher brings to the class activity. So again, during your monitoring, moving around the classroom, you really should be focusing on a number of things, but controlling the students' interaction, controlling their use of their first language, helping them to stay in the topic and in the task is also very, very, very important. Anything else that might be important to consider during pair work?
Maybe sometimes it happens so that, for example, one student loses the idea how to explain his answer or his own point, and the second student can't help him in it. And the task of the teacher to give this hint how to continue the conversation.
Absolutely.
It may be one word or a phrase or just a pattern, and it will help to continue.
Absolutely. So yes, so understanding student problems within the activity, and just helping them to overcome little obstacles that might stop them completing the task effectively or in the manner that you wanted them to do it. So again, as part of the monitoring, listening to student conversations, checking comprehension and understanding, and helping where appropriate. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Now, just to finish, anything that you think that could happen that would be productive or useful to the class after pair work? Let's go to group 2. Let's go to Natalia. We haven't picked on Natalia for a while. There we go.
Yeah, thank you. Honestly speaking, we didn't have enough time to cover this, but I can speak like from my mind. So in my opinion, definitely eliciting of the ideas from all the pairs. Yeah, maybe sharing some interesting or unexpected thoughts that were shared during this pair work activities, and definitely giving feedback on what you have heard while you were monitoring and moving around.
Brilliant. Great. So yes, I think again, after pair work, it's often something that teachers often ignore. But again, a summary of language and the function that the students have produced during the pair work is very, very important. If you feel that there are 1 or 2 pairs that have done the task extremely well, you might ask a pair to demonstrate to the rest of the class what they've done during the pair work. And again, a good moment to highlight corrections and problem areas that students have found during the activity. So again, I think students do appreciate after this type of activity receiving feedback. It's very easy just to say, oh, well done, everybody, we're moving on to the next exercise. But for students to receive real benefit from these areas, I think they do need some type of summary, some type of help in understanding how they've done. Okay.
Yeah,
now,
and may I add, and also it shows, yeah, that the teacher wasn't just sitting, yeah, as you said, somewhere in the back of the classroom, but was really listening, yeah, and memorizing or jotting down some mistakes, yeah, let's say, or some good things, and can give like a proper feedback. Yeah, not just, well done, this was good and this wasn't. No, giving some evidence what was good and what wasn't.
Absolutely. And I do think also this helps to address one of the problems or one of the disadvantages of pair work. In my experience, one of the problems with pair work is that students often feel that they interact or should be interacting with the teacher and not with each other. A big student perception is that I only learn from the teacher. And I only want to listen and speak to him or her. So I think in these types of activities, it's very beneficial in helping to change students' perception that you might not be talking to me, but I am listening to you. And I am taking note of the things that you're interested in, the things that you're saying. Okay, thank you very much, Natalia. Now, if we had more time today, we would probably go on to discuss things like giving instructions, setting up pair work, things like this. But I think today I've probably talked too much already. So I think I'm going to hand this back to Anastasia and let her ask you if you guys have any questions. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we've spoken about so far today?
David, it's such a pleasure just to listen you speaking. You know, just sit quiet and listen with your perfect British accent. You know,
I wish the people I knew felt this way, Anastasia. I'm not sure that my family and my friends have the same opinion, but thank you very much. It's very kind of you to say.
Bring your family to our groups, to our classes. I think they will have lots of compliments on their English.
Well, I will hopefully depart some of my Britishness. I don't know if that's a good thing. Anyway, thank you.
So I will speak about one more benefit that our colleagues will get after the course. And actually, I've been working with both foreign teachers and local teachers for a while, and actually, there is such a vivid difference in teaching approach, and you have already might notice this, right? Just the approach that Nastasia had and David's approach, right? When our own mentality, our Russian Belarusian mentality, right? When we want to give, just take it, have it, and yes, we're smart and you're going to be smart, all right? And the approach of foreign teachers, when they no, I'm not going to give you any information, get it. So just while having lessons with both our local teacher or Russian speaker teacher and David, just try to find these differences in approaches and try to analyze which works. I can't say best, but the difference in the outcomes. Okay, because neither approach is better, neither approach is worse, right? They are different and they are good for special purposes. So try to notice this, and again, that's some kind of questions for your like for analyzing, for discussion maybe. All right, colleagues, have you got any questions either to Nastya or Nastasia or to David? Maybe to me.
Or to Anastasia, absolutely.
Yeah, to Anastasia or to David.
I'm sorry, I've missed this. I think I've missed the situation. Is it an online course or offline, or it's mixed?
No, it's going to be online only.
Only.
Online course. Yeah.
Tatiana, if you're happy to pay for my air travel to Minsk, I'll come and have a holiday for a week or two, and I'll do some work as well.
It's not going to be a holiday, David. Lots of people want to teach here, so probably.
I can have Saturday off, can't I? Oh,
we're not sure.
You're very hard on me.
Okay, ladies.
Can I also probably didn't get it. Maybe I can find some information like about the course, but it was mentioned that each module will take 1 week. What is the schedule of the classes? So 4 astronomical hours, but what's the schedule? 3. Oh, 3, sorry.
From 11 till 2. From 11 till 2.
Daily.
It's more like from 11 to 2:15, because we have the one break, 15 minutes between 2 classes, so it's 2:15 more than 2.
Yeah. From 11 to 2:15 from Mondays to Fridays, right?
Yes. Yeah, 3 weeks. 3 weeks, 5 days in a row.
Yeah, but the best about this course is that you don't need to stop your life, because you get everything in the class. You don't have like much home task to do. You just can go on with your work and with your family activities. You just need to find those 3 hours a day to study. That's all.
I know that it sounds, not that complicated, but for now, for me, it's kind of almost unreal, but probably I will figure it out. Yeah, I'm thinking.
Okay. Yeah, and the course is going to take part in July. So it's not July when everybody.
Lots of time to clear your agenda.
Absolutely, David.
In July, right?
July, yes, July. No, not tomorrow, not May, not June, July. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, will we receive any kind of like certificate of participation or anything apart from the materials that were mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. You will have the certificate that will state that you have listened to such a course, and the course content, and actually it will be signed by David, Nastasia, and me.
But it will be like a certificate, right?
Actually, you can have both. We can print it for you if you want, or we can send it just the PDF or a picture of your certificate. It's you know.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
A little photograph of me next to my name as well, if you want.
Sure.
But that would be extra. I think that would be extra.
Do they pay for that extra?
Or I might have to pay for that, I think, as well.
Yeah, we'll make you popular, David.
But make me famous.
That's here. Sorry.
I want to be famous in Belarus. I want somebody to pay my airfare as well.
You're on your way. See, only ladies.
Come on.
That's only ladies.
I know, absolutely. Yes, I am spoiled.
And also we would like to thank you, Lexis. That's our bookstore. Yes, for our support, for our information support. And actually, at the end of I think module 2, we're going to have a short overview of all the business materials that's again both Lexis offers and maybe some materials that Nastasia would offer, or just some materials on business English and business communications that are available here. Okay, so that's going to be also something included in our course. So thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Absolutely. No,
Thanks
thank you
a lot.
Thank you for organizing this, and lovely to see everybody. Hopefully see you all in a couple of months' time on the course.
Yeah, the same. I hope to see everyone in July, and we're gonna learn and share the experience, so that's very important.
Wonderful.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good week.
Thank you. Bye.